Now, the first story I want to talk about tonight, it's so much I want to talk about tonight, is um, some, I want to do, there's so much I want to do. Okay, there was a man that, and this goes to show you, there are predators out here that in positions, you know, kind of like, in positions that we trust. Like, you don't have to always look for your stereotypical signs of a predator. Sometimes the predators that are out there are people that we trust and that are in high positions of power. And this story that we're about to talk about tonight pretty much demonstrates that. There was a police officer in Oklahoma City by the name of Daniel Holtzclaw that was charged with sexually assaulting 13 African-American women while on duty. And he was found guilty of 18 of the 36 counts that were brought up against him. And what he would do is he would seek out women that he knew that had pending or previous records, and he would target these women. And they were saying how the ages ranged from 17 to 59 years old. Like, he picked his victims. Like, there was a young girl that was 17 years old. That was the youngest victim. And like I said, the victims ranged up to a 59-year-old grandmother. And what was so scary about the situation, he would threaten or blackmail these women into and coercing them into sexual acts. And he would pretty much tell them, like, if you don't follow through with this, pretty much I will, I have people, I know ways of making you pay for this. And he also would tell the women, I have means to getting rid of some of these cases, or I know people that could make the charges disappear. But it was just sad because, you watch some of these women's testimonies, like, and it was just heartbreaking. And this is a person that's supposed to be a trusted member of society. He's supposed to be upholding the law, but instead, he was out here breaking the law. So we're going to go to a clip real quick, and then we get back. We're going to discuss it some more, and I'll start having an article as well that kind of breaks this down. So we're going to go to this clip. I'm going to try to pull it up real quick, and we will be back briefly.
We're waiting on this verdict in a highly charged trial with all kinds of racial undertones. This is out of Oklahoma City. The suspect, named Daniel Holtzclaw, he is an ex-cop now, but he was an officer on the Oklahoma City police force when he was accused of the serial rapes here of 13 African-American women. The prosecution claims he picked them because he didn't think they'd speak up. Holtzclaw faces 36 counts in all, including sexual battery, forcible oral sodomy, and rape. So Nick Valencia back on this. Also joining us, criminal defense attorney Allison Trussell. So first, Nick, can you just bring us up to speed?
This has been a lengthy trial, Brooke. 5 weeks of testimony, and a lot of that has to do with what you just reported. 13 women, all of them African American, all of them accusing Daniel Holtzclaw, that former Oklahoma City police officer, of raping them, of sexually assaulting them. Now, the state alleges that Holtzclaw singled out his victims, trying to pick out people in impoverished areas, people who may have had checkered pasts or run-ins with the police department. So if they ever did come forward to report this, that their credibility would be drawn in question. Now, to Holtzclaw's credibility, the defense did call his ex-girlfriend to the stand to speak to his character. She talked about how, according to local affiliate reporting, that he had read Bible scriptures to her. They were together for about a year and a half. That's about as much information as we know there. But the big bombshell in this case, Brooke, is skin cells. It rests on skin cells of a then 17-year-old who is accusing Holtzclaw of rape. Those skin cells found both inside and outside of the zipper of Holtzclaw. Now, his defense is arguing that this was secondary transfer, that he came upon the skin cells after a routine search of this accuser's purse. The state is just not buying that. Closing arguments, they ended on Monday. Jury has been deliberating, but a huge controversy in this all is the makeup of the jury. It's all white, and the local chapter of the NAACP is furious at that. They say this will lead to an unfair trial. And, of course, Holtzclaw, that man that you were looking up there on your screen, he's being charged with 36 counts, including first- and second-degree rape. He faces life in prison.
All right, we're back. It's a very devastating situation, very scary. Like, this man was not like he wasn't your typical, like I said, predator. Like, this is someone that was trusted by many. Like, he played college football. He was pretty much respected within his community. No one would have ever thought that he would have been caught up in this type of scandal. And what's so sad about it is like this story didn't really even receive that much attention until like a couple of days ago. And from what I've been reading, this is something that is pretty much not this situation is not unique. Like a lot of situations, there have been like at least they were saying about at least 1,000 cases, which police officers have within a 6-year period where police officers have lost their badges due to some form of sexual misconduct. So this brings up the issue, like why aren't these cases being brought to light? Why we focus so much on everything else in the media. Why aren't we discussing this? Because when you think about it, this could be someone that's close to you. This could be like, a relative of yours. This could be your mother. This could be your sister. This could be your niece or somebody that is being coerced into sexual acts with these police officers, and it's sad, So I don't know. What do you think about this, Michael?
It's creepy. It's kind of creepy to hear all the, you hear the figures on that, but, it costs money to screen people, and it just goes to show you that some people need to be screened better because a position of authority is not for everybody.
Right. And you also, when you look at this situation, you can also kind of tie it into the Catholic Church. Like, I think these people go into these positions. And what was so pathetic about it, too, Michael, is showed his reaction after the verdict was read. And he just broke down like, and excuse my term, like a bitch, like a little bitch. Like, he started crying. I said, why are you crying for? Do you think that, that anybody cares about you, like about you crying? Because you didn't care about these women that you took advantage of. And,
exactly.
And I just think it was just really pathetic, But like I said, I mean, you look at a lot of people, they, I think they actively seek out these types of roles. Like, if you're, whether it's law enforcement or, like you said, like these priests in the Catholic Church, they know which ones to pick out. They know the ones that are vulnerable. Like, like it's been said, like a lot of these priests and stuff like that, they seek out a lot of these young boys that don't have male role models in the home, or don't have, not even necessarily male role models, just family that just gives a damn. So I think it's always important to know your rights. And then also, just safeguard your children, safeguard your family, make sure that they know that they can turn to someone, and I think a lot of these women, they felt that they couldn't turn to anyone because it was pretty much their word against his. So I think that's where a lot of these women found themselves. Like they knew that this man was highly revered in the community, and I guess they were saying how I was reading how there was one particular witness or one of the women that was assaulted was saying, like, they asked her why didn't she come forth right after the incident, and she was saying, I was scared because what are they going to me? Why would they believe me? It would be my word against his, and I've had a criminal background, in my past, so why would they believe me over him? But you know what? In situations like that, you have to talk. You have to tell somebody. No matter what you think the outcome may be, you have to speak up. And
I'm a little curious. That's the number of cases that they found out about to prosecute him. How many do you think they didn't find out about?
Yeah, see, that's the unknown. That's the big unknown because he's not going to admit to it.
Oh, hell no.
So there could be many others out there that could be victims, and I think many times when we're dealing with cases like this, there are so many people out, like victims out here that are scared to speak up. And I hate to bring it back to this, like it's kind of reminds me of the Bill Cosby situation, like which I haven't heard anything else about that recently, but it's just kind of crazy how a lot of these women, they kept silent for years, and they're just now coming out with their stories. So who's to say that there's not more out here? These are just the women that we know of, So I just thought that was an interesting story to bring up, and they said this guy could spend upwards to over 200 years in prison. Like, so pretty much he's going to be in jail for life. Like, and I think someone like this needs to be off the streets. Let alone even, like, be in a position of authority. I think he just needs to be locked away because nobody's safe with somebody like that on the streets. Like, you have to be pretty heartless to even carry out something like that. And then it just shows you how big of a coward you are. Like, you started crying. Like, you wanted someone to have some sort of pity or some sympathy for you, but you didn't have sympathy for other people. So I don't know, it's just a sad situation.